I'm indie author Amy Wolf, and I want to talk to you today about an exciting new avenue for us indies, and that is direct sales. Now, there was a time, if you're an old timer like me, you'll remember that Amazon was pretty much the only game in town, right? That was the online retail for us indies, and that was pretty much it. Then, of course, you had other retails coming online like B&N and Kobo and Draft to Digital, which is awesome because it puts you in all spaces. And now the hot button issue for us is direct sales. This is where you can make a lot of money, maybe even more than with the traditional retailers. Yes. So essentially, there are four pillars of direct sales that I'm going to talk about. One is having your own online web store. And coupled with that is offering a direct sale to your email list, to new folks who happen to come on. Okay. Number two is selling at cons. I've been doing that for 3 years. It's been very good for me. Three is Substack, which is its own world. And then finally, I want to talk about the mother lode, and that is Kickstarter. That's actually been the most lucrative channel for me. So without further ado, I would like to go to my online store called Lone Wolf Press. Yes, you can probably get it. I've got a video happening. There it is, just a brief introduction. I've got a background of Mr. Dragon, and I am leading the reader to one of three avenues. What kind of fantasy do they like? And they have three choices, okay? Then this is my fabulous direct offer where you can get all the stuff for just $15. Yes, it's true. Okay. You'll see up here, I've got tabs for everything, all the different types of books. I just added audiobooks. What's great about having an online store, okay, as opposed to just selling through other platforms? Basically, you get all the money, okay, except I think there's a brief fee that is taken by Square when your viewers and customers essentially use their credit cards. So you get all the money. That's the good thing. Secondly, and this is beautiful, you can bundle. Here he's going, he's bundling. And this, unlike on Amazon, okay, you can offer whatever combination of your products that you feel like. Here, I got a paperback and an audiobook. I got 2 books. I got ebooks. I got all sorts of groovy things. And, even different series mingled together. Yeah, just like here. And finally, she said, there's a hardbacks. Woo, I just added all my audio books because that is the thing. At cons, there are many people who come up to me asking about audio because they're dyslexic or they have vision issues. And so this is a wonderful avenue to explore for those people. So she said, I'm going to just dash right up to the very top of the page. And let's go to this guy. Here we go. Let's look at Amy's featured bundle. That's the product. But I want to actually go into the very crux of this. So we're going to go into Lone Wolf Press. So speaking of direct offers, which I believe we just were, I'm going to show you a sample of one which is in fact on my online store. So let me just backtrack for a moment. Who is it you're offering this to, or in fact all direct sales to? Well, except for cons, which are of course in person or hand-to-hand selling, we use our email list. So what I do is when I gather a substantial number of new peeps on my list, I immediately direct them to this 7-day only direct offer. So how do you augment your email list? Okay. Number one, you can use a magnet on your author page. If I have time, I'll try to show you that. But primarily, I use something called book sweeps. They have promos all through the year in all genres. And at the end, you could end up with, say, 1,000 or 1,500 new emails that you can then present the direct offer to. So that is extremely valuable. Let's just take a look at my direct offer page again on my Lone Wolf Press website. There I am. That's me. Okay, we see that we have limited the offer creating urgency, right? some real reviews. It's very graphics heavy, and I keep presenting buttons so that the customer may buy. I am, in fact, giving away $56 worth of stuff for $15. Yes. So here I explain about the first book. I've got a lot of nice reviews. And at this point, I'm actually throwing in an old free paperback with old art to the first 20 comers. Okay. Here is everything. And again, I keep emphasizing the urgency, the discount, and the button. Yes, I want that. So again, it's very nice, and the money is all you, except again for the small fee that Square will take for processing credit cards. So I highly, highly recommend that. Number 2, let's talk about selling at cons. Yay! Don't really have a groovy graphic for this, but I will tell you that you want to start small. You don't want to start off, I'm going to San Diego Comic-Con and spending thousands of dollars for a table. No, I started off at a very small con, which was Lost Con in LA, and I worked my way up from there. Okay, now I'm doing Comic-Cons in my area, such as Emerald City and Rose City in both Seattle and Portland. They've been very, very good to me. Yes. So the deal is that I'm a spieler. Okay. And that means I will scream at somebody across the aisle, hey, you with the antlers, you into dragons? So that's kind of how I roll. I spiel, therefore I am. I'll use stuffed animals. I'll work with props. I'll do whatever I have to do to get people's attentions. And sometimes they're receptive and you're able to make sales, especially of a whole series, which is a beautiful thing. And of course, I offer discounts. The more you buy, the more you save. Typically, I charge $20 for a signed paperback, $30 for a signed hardback. And people seem to be quite receptive. I use a Square reader to process credit cards, and it's instantaneous. Also, when you sell at a con, to those who buy, make sure you get their email and add it to your list. That is key. Okay? So that is, the cons have been really good for me. I am an extrovert, can you tell? And I have no problem yelling at people to come see me. Hey, you dragon fans? Like I say, I'll work with props, puppets, anything that I can do. The one caveat about going to cons, and this applies to me because I'm in kind of a rural area. If the con is being held in a big city, you got to get there. For me, I only go to ones I can drive to. But the biggest cost, of course, is having to stay in a hotel near the con and paying for your food. Now, I make sandwiches for lunch every day. I don't eat breakfast, so it's just dinner. But, these costs can rack up. And I will tell you, I just had an experience, unfortunately, last month, not going to name it, but a con was very, very poor. It wasn't that there weren't attendees. It's just they weren't buying books. And all of us writers were really feeling the pain. So I lost money. In fact, I lost almost $1,000. So it's kind of hit or miss, right? All you got to do is try. Go to a con. If it doesn't work for you, don't return. Or like my big Comic Cons, oh yeah, I will go back every year. So again, you really have to, you can't just stand there. You got to be extroverted. You got to draw people to you. And I'm showing them how fun I am in person with the subtext that, my books are fun too. Okay. So that is cons, and not for the faint of heart, right? The next thing I wanted to talk about is Substack. Now, I will be very frank with you. I completely bombed on Substack, okay? The first thing I did wrong was a scattershot approach. I just talked about everything. I did film reviews and book reviews and talked about, classic fantasy and dragons and whatever else just popped into my mind. Well, that did not work. Then, even when I tried to really focus myself on dragons and doing things that I like, which is basically making fun little videos. Some of them were even animated with a talking me. But again, I failed to hit. And this is honestly my feeling. If you are a guru, okay, like a Russell Noelty, who is the king of direct sales, of course people are going to subscribe because they totally want to hear what you have to say. You are an expert. Your name is known. You've been around for many, many years. Those people with that nonfiction expertise, especially when you are essentially, selling to other writers, they want to know what's the best way to get sales. That is highly successful. And I know Russell makes a substantial income from Substack. Now, with us fiction writers, it's tougher. You have to really be able to provide something that people want enough to pay for. I personally could not find that magic formula as a fantasy writer. But if you have expertise, you can solve what in IT we call the pain point, then you have a really good chance of getting paying subscribers. And for many, it is a substantial income. Okay. So just because I couldn't make it doesn't mean that you can't if you have essentially what the people want. Okay. Now I want to talk about my mother lode, and that is Kickstarter. Yay. All right. So now I want to talk about the direct sales channel that has been the mother lode for me, and that is Kickstarter. I learned from the best. Again, it's Russell Noelty. He is my mentor and guru. He's the guy who, when COVID struck, said, uh-oh, I've made most of my money from cons. Now they're not being held. It's too dangerous. What do I do? He's the guy who pioneered selling books on Kickstarter. Okay. Now he started with comics, incredibly successful. Now he's segued to fiction. And again, he's incredibly successful. So we owe it all to him. And I have done 9 Kickstarters now. Each one has fully funded, usually like 300-400%, which is great. And I have also, most importantly, developed this cadre of super fans. In other words, people who really like my books. They did maybe the first Kickstarter, said, hey, she's cool. So they're on the lookout for me. And of course, they're on my email list. So they are notified of each campaign as it happens. I've done this over a number of years, and I just can't say enough about this platform. It is fabulous. If, of course, you can design your Kickstarter webpage in the correct way using best practices. So let me just show you that for a sec. Again, this is all Russell stuff. This is my fantasy noir, Too Much Tinsel. And we can see that it did fund. Okay, this is a little lower than my norm. I usually make about $2,500. So what do you need? You need this hero image, right? The main thing. Then you have to make a video. Again, I love this, okay? But you do make a short video, make it no longer than 2 minutes. Hold up the finished book if you can to show, this really exists. This isn't vaporware, okay? Then most importantly, here comes the story, right? I give a little preview of the first chapter, which they can read on BookFunnel. I offer US shipping on all books for free. Here's my guy, Errol the Dragon. Okay. Oh, looks like I did a lot of stretch goals here. Free audiobook and a free short story. Wow. I was definitely going. So here's the 3 questions. All right. Very, very important. And you're more than welcome to look at this page. Just essentially search for Amy Wolf on Kickstarter.com and you will see the best practices, how to put the page together. Here is the cover, which I love. One's a dame, one's a dragon. They're detectives. That is sort of an attention-getting logline. Now I describe the book. I talk about the world that it's set in. Again, with very, very bright graphics. I had a professional review done before I did the Kickstarter. And also, this is important. Who am I? Why the heck did I even bother to write this book? And in this case, I had worked for the Hollywood Film Studios for 15 years. That's why. Now, who the heck am I? This is literally me as a cat. And I can't tell you how accurate that really is. So I give a little spiel about, hey, who the heck am I? Okay, this is me. I'm an Amazon Kindle Scout winner. At this time, I have now won 7 BookFest Awards for fantasy and mystery. I give the whole deal that I went to Clarion West and I have a degree in English and my whole studio background here to emphasize those lovely awards. Now, I go into the series characters, starting with the most important. There's my protag, Nikki. There she is. There's Errol, right? Here's the love interest, Bill the cop. Uh-oh, bad guy. And you can kind of tell this is Louis B. Mayer. All the stars in heaven. I then give a little deal about which pledge should my, backers choose. It's totally up to them, right? And I'm going to get into this in a moment. You'll note I do merch. Oh, heck, I do merch on all my books, all of this stuff. And again, they have sold pretty well. Also, this was the first time I was offering audiobooks. I was also offering kind of a bespoke gold foil edition of another book, which frankly didn't do too well. Now, these are all of the rewards. So let's go to the rewards page. You want to have all tiers. I start with $1 and I'll give them a map or something. Here comes the ebook for this book. Whoa, here comes a whole bundle of books because at this time I didn't have books 2 or 3 written, which I do now. Oh, look, it's all about audio, $15, not too bad. Here they come. Look at this. You can get this whole series with the book that I'm kickstarting now. Oh, you can get the paperback, on and on. You can, so let's just see. Here we go. Oh yeah, here we go. All the stuff. Of course, I do hardbacks. Now, here we go. This is important, okay? For $50, right, I will shout out to my backer, mention their name at the back of the new ebook. And they love this. I don't care if they want to be called, Devlin Twinkletoes. They can choose whatever name they want. But that $50 earns them that shout out. Here I've got bundles and bundles, just like I do on my webpage. And as we go down, this is an interesting thing. But first, let me go to Tuckerization. What is that? Hey, for $75, I will include you as a minor character in the book. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. And it definitely stretches your creativity to make this happen. But I do get a lot of these pledges. Now, I want to look at my payment plan. I stole this from someone else. I offer these 4 books in a payment plan, which takes place 3 payments, one before, one during, one after. So it's $83 3 times. And again, this has been very, very popular. So let's go to the swaggerific. Swag, yay, there it goes. Okay, and I've got a Hollywood Players package with all this merch, and I throw in, the paperback and actually sunglasses, right? Here comes the ultimate sleuth package. Very expensive, but, throw in as much stuff as I can, throw in a journal, throw in a paperback, whatever I can. So that is a very, very quick rundown of Kickstarter. Again, feel free to Google me, Kickstarter.com, Amy Wolf, and I think I've gotten better with time, so you might want to look at my latest one. I just did one for a bespoke gold foil slipcover of this book, and it did pretty well, considering this book was released not that long ago, okay? So again, Kickstarter's a beautiful thing. And essentially, this is how I roll in terms of Kickstarter. And this is all via Mr. Russell. Run your campaign for 17 days on a book, okay? And keep offering stuff throughout. Stretch goals. Oh, I made it to $1,000. You get a free whatever. Look, I made it to $2,000. You get a free audiobook. The freebies, draw them in. And for the first 3 days of my Kickstarter, I offer 4 free fantasy ebooks. People love it. And I just go around and essentially solicit my fellow fantasy authors. I do the exact same thing for the first 3 days of the second week of the campaign, and that ignites interest. Is this all, you ask? Oh no, because every day of this 17-day campaign, I send an email, okay, to my fantasy email list. First, I tout the freebies, then I talk about the book. In fact, let me bring up a tab here and I'll attempt to share that. And this is Flowdesk, which is my email, my wonderful, wonderful email. I use this instead of MailChimp. Why? Because it's a whole lot cheaper. Yeah. And their workflow is excellent, I might add. All right. I'm going to make the attempt to log in. There it goes. Woo! Here we are. So I actually want to show you the emails that I send out during a campaign as part of my Flowdesk workflow. Here you see I can have as many different kinds of audiences as I so desire, but the workflows are extremely cool. So let's find one. Here's one. Let's just go and you will see the string of workflowed emails that Amy sends. This was actually first, in this case, this is sort of moving on, but why I'm excited about the book, meet Nikki. This is me. This is my universal trope. All of my books have to do usually with a woman who goes through a transformational journey to become something else, kind of like your old character arc, right? Now, this is me, Bobblehead Amy. I talk about LA, the setting. I talk about, again, the setting because it's set in the 40s. Oh, look, I'm presenting a goodie. I gave an audio file of the first chapter. Oh, look what's happening here. Uh-oh, you got to get those free ebooks. Yeah, there they go. Now at the end, I become incessant, okay? I say it's going away in 3 days. Now it's 2 days. I give 10 reasons a la David Letterman why you should essentially back this book. Now I wait 10 hours at night. Time is getting short in a Dali-esque way. But wait, here comes the next 8 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours, and then it's over. Okay. And the subscribers will exit the workflow. Okay, so my first emails are about the freebies, and you can see the ads for the 4 free fantasy books, and you know, they're going away, don't miss this, and other goodies, right? Especially the main product that I'm pushing for this Kickstarter, which was this book, Too Much Tinsel. So that's Kickstarter, and the last thing I wanted to say about it has to do with BackerKit. When I first started, I really wasn't big enough for BackerKit, but now I am. And what's the advantage? I'm not going to tell you that the ramp up is user-friendly and simple. It's not. I mean, I was writing to their support people like 5 times a day. How do I do this? How do I do that? But once you get into it, just like anything or any new software, you find you speed up and you know what to do. So what is BackerKit? Right? They are essentially sort of an adjunct to Kickstarter. And on it, they allow you to send emails to all of your backers who have not yet pledged to this campaign. It's beautiful. That will cost $100 per campaign. Worth it? Absolutely. They will set up what they call a pre-order store, which can also be a post-order store with virtually all the rewards of your Kickstarter, which can be pledged for either before or if you select late pledges after. I've got late pledges going on right now. And so you collect money not only in Kickstarter, but also in BackerKit store itself. And that will make up for that $100 pretty quickly. Okay. The other thing they do, which I love, is all of your digital awards, essentially ebooks and audiobooks. You can basically, you have a link to have it downloaded from wherever it sits, whether it be on BookFunnel, or in my case, I just put it in a shared place on Google Drive. So when I'm ready, I release the distribution and all of the reward tiers that are due to get that ebook, audiobook, or both. Boom, those digital rewards are sent seamlessly to the backers. Oh, it saves a ton of work, okay? Also, it can basically create reports so you can see all your backers, what they ordered for fulfillment, because I do fulfillment myself. I am Easy Ship right here, okay? So that is really important. It's like, by customer, what the heck did they order? And you can check it off as you're going through that shipping process. The other thing is they send surveys for you. Yay! Because a lot of time you got to ask your backers a question. Hey, do you want an EPUB or a PDF for this book, for this ebook? What would your name like to be in the back of the ebook? What would you like the name of your Tuckerized character to be? What t-shirt size do you want? So there are a lot of questions, and you can customize each tier so that that survey, again, is seamlessly sent to the backer. They fill out the survey with their address if they're getting physical stuff, and you don't have to do a darn thing. BackerKit also will send out reminders to the bad boys and girls who don't answer. So that is awesome. BackerKit charges the credit cards of those who pledged in BackerKit. So even though, again, the ramp up can be painful, and believe me, I felt the pain, as you get into it, become more expert, just like Kickstarter itself, you can do it like that. And it is so worth it, honestly. BackerKit does take a small percentage, which it was like $33 for my last campaign. Kickstarter, PS, takes a percentage because they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They will take 5% of your gross profits. Again, so worth it, right? So that, in a very quick nutshell, is the story of direct sales and its 4 main pillars, like the 7 pillars of wisdom. Highly recommend you check them out. Hey, not everyone's going to work for you, but all you can do is try, and it is a great way to augment sales. So thanks a lot for listening. This is Amy Wolf saying good luck.